Everyone, Joe Waxman here. And in this video, I want to look at the opposition of Uranus and Chiron. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's actually so common for people nowadays, way more common than the conjunction, that I thought it would be very useful. I mean, I have it, and it actually spans many decades, and we'll look at that. It is an unusual combination. And so just briefly, what's Chiron? Chiron is that weird minor planet that is part asteroid, part comet. It has the tail of a comet called a comma. So it kind of looks like a superhero because it has a tail and it has rings, and it's in between Saturn and Uranus. Closer to the orbit of Saturn when it's in Libra, and closer to the orbit of Uranus when it's in Aries. Right, so it's a weird elliptical orbit, and it just sort of defies all stereotypes. It's really just in a class of its own, and completely unique, utterly unique, even more unique in many ways than Uranus, the main planet of uniqueness. Chiron, I think, probably beats the uniqueness of Uranus in many ways. Mythologically, Chiron has some issues. They call it the wounded healer, but it is much more than the wounded healer. Chiron was rejected at birth for being so unique, so different by his mother. He's a centaur, but he has a full human body, and a horse's torso growing out his butt. Basically, it's kind of funny looking, and his mother was, rejected him for that reason. But he grew up in a very different sort of way than the other centaurs. He was not very aggressive, warlike, sexual, kind of like low vibe. He was very evolved. He was a spiritually evolved human being. He was a teacher, an astrologer, basically a shaman, a healer. Knew all about medicine and herbs and plants and all that. And then he got shot in the foot by a poison arrow that he himself made, that Hercules used to defeat a monster. So he has these dual sides of him. It's a very interesting character. And what is Uranus? Uranus is the planet that's outside the bounds of Saturn. Saturn is the sort of limitation of this earthly realm. Saturn wants to make the rules, the authority, the law, the glass ceiling, and Uranus is above and beyond that. Uranus is the father of Saturn, so Saturn's the father of all the other planets, so Uranus is the grandfather, right? And that's very significant. Uranus wants freedom, rebellion, awakening, truth. Uranus defies conditioning. Uranus is so independent, it doesn't really take anything other than its own sort of perspective into account. Therefore, it's not going to follow the crowd. It's very rhythmic. It's like a bolt of lightning. So music and rhythm are often associated with it, as well as humor, comedy, social, politics, kind of awareness, very big picture, right? Yes. So the opposition is going to create a tremendous uniqueness in a person. It will involve relationships, so there might be some difficult, challenging relationships. Both of these have malefic potential. Uranus often involves like sudden events, accidents, things of that nature. Chiron can be weird, odd things, situations, deformities, wounds, rejection, right? All those things. So it can bring out some of the negative karma related to those planets. It's a little blurry here. Let me get focused. Sometimes my camera doesn't want to focus. But overall, the opposition, I don't think, is the worst of the most difficult of the aspects. So overall, I think it's pretty good as far as making somebody just incredibly unique and stand out. What's really cool is that we've had it from the 50s to the 90s, on and off, this conjunction, just because of the way that they move together a lot of times. And So you can see that from starting from the 50s, we just had this boom of expressive uniqueness in society, this creative explosion, right? That we're actually going to, once we get enough distance from this historically, like when we, as the years progress, we're going to see, as those people die out, that this was a period between the 50s and 90s, and then the people that were born during that time had this incredible creative surge that it's going to be a very standout time in history where we can say, wow, really creative explosion happened during those years. In any case, let me share my screen and we'll pull up. Okay, so I just want to initially, we just have Chiron and Uranus, and we're back at 1949, and I will show you just how many times Chiron and Uranus made the opposition. It's really quite unique. So I have it month by month, so you can see. Okay, that was in conjunct. Okay, so 1951, we're starting with the opposition. And then 1952, still 1952. And then 1953, 1953, 1953, 1954, 54, 55, 56, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 68, 69, 69, 70, 70, 71, 71, 72, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, my year, the best year, 77, it's all downhill from there, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 88, 89, 89, 90. Okay, I think we're moving out. Wait, did we get a little bit? Okay, a little bit there. 91. Okay, now we're past. So 91. So from 50, I think 51 to 91. That's a 40-year span. That's amazing. Let me pull up all the planets. And we're gonna go, we're not gonna look at all of them because so I'm measuring it from Uranus. We have Uranus in Cancer opposite Chiron, Uranus in Leo opposite Chiron, Uranus in Virgo opposite Chiron, Uranus in Libra opposite Chiron, Uranus in Scorpio opposite Chiron, and Uranus in Capricorn opposite Chiron. So we're going to start with Cancer. And we are going to look at Mr. Denzel Washington, famous actor. And guys, I kept the orb very small, within 2 degrees, because otherwise it just would have been like everyone, you know. But I wanted the most exact oppositions, and it's loaded with A-list actors and just really high-profile people. I mean, of course, but you know. So Denzel Washington, and while I'm here, who else has in Cancer? Francois Hollande, who is the Prime Minister of or President of France. Liam Neeson, Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, you know, two gross guys. David Icke, James Cameron, and Howard Stern. All right. I would have pulled up James Cameron because I thought that would be interesting to look at him as, you know, avatar maker, but he didn't have the good birth time. So we're looking at Denzel, another great actor, right? All right. Well, he's got his Jupiter in Cancer, conjunct Uranus in the 10th house. So very dynamic, plus South Node, right? Very dynamic, very unique. Opposite Chiron in Capricorn. So, you know, this combination just makes somebody extremely stand out. Plus, we've also got a third option, a third leg here with it's a T-square, perfect, with Neptune. And Neptune, especially in the first, is great for acting, right? Neptune is the co-ruler of Pisces, so imagination, fantasy, deception. That's all very prominent with Neptune. So this is, I mean, you know, this is a great acting combination. You know, Chiron has this very fictional quality, this kind of superhero quality, this like comic book ability to just be anything. And Jupiter conjunct Uranus is it's really expanding the uniqueness. Jupiter's in Cancer, so it's an excellent dignity in the 10th house. Right, so this is like for success. Yeah, it's very prominent. And then he's got his South Node conjunct the MC, so that indicates early rise to success. But he's also got North Node conjunct the Sun, exact, and Mercury. So that's 4th house. So it's kind of like, it's almost like, you know, if not for the Sun and Mercury, it would be like dropping out of the limelight. But then the Sun keeps him in the limelight. The Sun is our connection to fame, worldliness, right? So it's just early rise to success, and then still, you know, fame, success, maybe more materialism in Capricorn, but nonetheless. And then he's got like a strong 2nd house for speaking, strong 3rd house for expression. Let's see, where's Mars? Mars is in Pisces, which is okay, but it's trine. So that's excellent, right? Mars is bonifying this Saturn Venus conjunction, and Saturn Venus are not bad, right? Because actually Venus, it rules Libra, which is the sign of Saturn's exaltation. Venus makes Saturn a lot more fair because Saturn is the authority, the rulership, and so Venus kind of softens that. It's much less dictatorial with Venus there, and then Venus is our indulgence, and Saturn kind of restricts that. So Venus, Saturn people can be much more self-controlled, you know, less indulgent. They're not going to overeat, overdrink, you know. They'll have that constrictive quality to them. In any case, that's Denzel. I don't want to take too long with these, but let me just look here. Mercury's out of bounds, so very extreme ability to express himself. Jupiter seems pretty slow. Nodes are stationary. I think nodes stationary is similar to the other planets. Even though they go stationary a lot and they vacillate, they're very quick. But I think a stationary node just would be even more potent. I think my node is stationary as well. It's just a bit more potent. Conjunct the sun, that's a very strong indicator of worldliness, if not fame, if not outright fame, especially conjunct the ICMC, when the nodes are conjunct this angle with a very strong 10th house. Moon trine the ascendant. So yeah, very strong chart for sure. All right, let's move right along. Leo, we got Bill Gates, Kris Jenner, RuPaul, Viggo Mortensen, Carrie Fisher, Julianne Moore, JFK Jr., Whoopi Goldberg, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Definitely some big characters. And we're going to look at Mr. Needle Gates of Hell. I know nobody likes him, but he is an interesting character. Let me try that again. You got to know your enemies. Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. That's what they say. All right, well, Bill Gates, Mr. Bill Gates, he's got Uranus conjunct the ascendant in Leo, opposite Chiron in the descendant. And then actually, this is an interesting combination because Uranus co-rules Aquarius, so it's bonifying this Chiron. And Chiron in the 7th, which is where I have it, also at 0 degrees, but mine's in Taurus, would define his relationships. So this is Melinda Gates. Is it Belinda? Melinda. Yeah, Melinda Gates. She's a weird one. She's a weird one. She started out as a woman and then ended up pretty much looking like a man. I don't know how that happened. I don't know if she died and was replaced by a man dressed, with a wig or what. Some people might find that offensive, but I find it offensive that, we're being gaslit. So, I feel at liberty to say these kind of things. I'm not sure what happened there, but it's very weird. So Chiron can do that. Chiron can make something very, very weird as far as, wherever it sits. And so it's sitting in this 7th house of relationships. So definitely weird relationships, right? And he's, Uranus conjunct the ascendant for a computer guy, very much so. I mean, Uranus can represent a lot of things, but technology, progress, electricity, definitely. Right. And as far as megalomania, Jupiter conjunct Pluto in Leo in the 2nd house, resources. I mean, Jupiter represents, success and excess, also philosophy. And Jupiter conjunct Pluto, these guys believe in power and control, right? Especially in the 2nd house. He wants to use his resources to control as much as he can. And it's sextile Neptune, so he's got a very big imagination, right? As far as how can we control everyone, right? North node in the 6th, basically, south node in the 12th, north node in the 6th. There's a lot of secrecy going on with this guy, just letting you know. Not everything is above boards, not everything is what it seems, but 6th house for medicine, health, and then spiky needles, obviously. Sag has the arrow, Scorpio has the stingy tail. So this guy loves needles. Like, he's just all about needles, and he's all about injecting people with needles, unfortunately. But definitely unique, definitely a character, definitely a comic book villain, right? It's the Uranus Chiron like combination that just makes them just stand out, so unique. A lot of egotism, especially with this Leo, Uranus, Jupiter, Pluto, and Leo in this 1st, 2nd house. I mean, ego's off the charts. Moon conjunct the MC. So Moon is his ascendant lord, so definitely wants to be successful in his career. Yeah. Let me just check here. Nothing out of bounds. Mercury's not that slow. Uranus seems slow. And then Mars and Venus are, he doesn't have that strong of a chart. It's kind of interesting, but Jupiter is in the second conjunct Pluto very tightly. And then Neptune. Neptune helps. Neptune helps. Neptune's trine or sextile, sorry. Then Mars and Venus are in each other's signs, so that not by degree, but still it's combining this fourth and fifth house land. He's the biggest landowner in America, and so that's fourth house, right? And then fifth house entertainment. I mean, you could see computers in here, not outright, but definitely part of it. Xbox, but entertainment, fun games, things like that, but in a Scorpio kind of fashion, more so with the Uranus conjunct the ascendant, South Node Gemini, in any case. He didn't start Microsoft. There's a lot of shadiness. He grew up, he came from a powerful family, and which is partly why he's so successful. I think he bought his way into Microsoft. Anyway, yeah, that is Leo. Let's move right along to Virgo. And in Virgo, we've got Brad Pitt, Kurt Cobain, Julia Roberts, Jodie Foster, Will Smith, Sophie Marceau, Demi Moore, Bjork, Jeff Bezos, Gordon Ramsay, and Nicolas Cage. I mean, like, I couldn't even fit everyone on here. There were way more people than that. But we're going to look at very unique person, Bjork. Because weird spelling, so I just got to do the B. No. Yeah, that's gonna take too. I'm just gonna, because it doesn't come up the way it's spelled. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. My charts, that's why. You got to do that special O, and I don't know how to do that. In any case, Bjork's certainly unique, right? She's like one of a kind. You know, I used to like her music. Eventually, it just got old, and it's, you know, it's cool. It's a little screechy. You know, I think when you're young, it's like fun. It's so different, so weird, right? But she's got Uranus conjunct Pluto in the MC, conjunct the MC. And this is the 60s conjunction in Virgo, very intense conjunction. Virgo is so contracted, and then Uranus and Pluto. This is like extremely intense, right? And Neptune, Scorpio ascendant, Moon is Scorpio, Neptune conjunct the ascendant. Neptune conjunct the ascendant is very exotic, very mystical, great for acting, great for exotic looks, like, you know, beauty, like definitely, but in a very exotic way. Neptune is exotic beauty. You'll see it really much more strong, much more in women. Even though Neptune is represented as a male god, as far as like planetary influences, I think Neptune's feminine. I think so. Okay. But she does have a really nice look. Venus, although it's in Capricorn, it's bona fide by Mars in Capricorn, it's Mars exalted, and it's sextile the ascendant. So she does have that really strong look. Moon, even though it's in the 12th, so that adds to creativity, but conjunct the ascendant, it's going to give her great, you know, emotional expression as well. And then Sun in the first house is like, what you see is what you get. It's like multiplied. There's really there, because the ascendant is kind of like the true self, but Sun is how we show up and relate to the world. And when these two are united, it's like they really are what they seem like. They're not hiding. They're not going home and being something else. They really are. She really is like that. Like what you see. Like, I mean, yeah, it's enhanced by the MC, but like still, she's so scorpionic. Like in real life, She's not playing games. She's legit, right? She's legit scary. Scary. I don't know if she's scary, but she has a scary kind of vibe. In any case. Chiron, it's also conjunct Saturn, it's in Pisces. And it's IC, so she's very, she's extremely intense and weird out in public. At home, she's equally weird, but a bit more reserved at home, but definitely weird with the Chiron and Pisces conjunct the IC. Both square Mercury in first, second, right? Exalted Mars and Venus conjunct Venus in the second, but Jupiter ruling, and then Mercury and Jupiter have mutual reception, not by degree, but by sign. So second lord and eighth lord. Because if you're just looking at the second lord, you'd see Jupiter in detriment in Gemini in the eighth house. So a lot of, pulling in that, so much darkness, heaviness, but I mean, lightness as well. I mean, I wouldn't call her like she's not heavy metal, but it's like weird, but dark at the same time, like deep, I would say, not dark, deep. In any case, a bit screechy, definitely. That could be this, Jupiter in Gemini, but also maybe Mars in Capricorn and Venus in Capricorn. I don't know. But whatever it is, also Mercury in Sag. So these are in poor dignity, but nonetheless, mutual reception. And then Mercury is really slow, just a little bit slower than mine. Right, so almost stationary. Jupiter, Mercury, mutual reception. All right. That is Bjork. Bjork. Yeah. Fun character. All right. Let's go to Libra. And who has it in Libra? Cameron Diaz, Mariah Carey, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Ben Affleck, Charlize Theron, Gwen Stefani, Matt Damon, Heidi Klum, The Rock, and so many other people. I just couldn't list them all. But we're going to look at Mariah Carey, and she's a little bit of a mystery. I'll tell you why. I mean, she's known for this tremendous voice. But normally what you'd look for with a voice like that, you go to the second house. Okay, nothing in the second house. Mercury's ruling the second. Mercury's in Pisces. Mercury's debilitated and in detriment in Pisces. I mean, look. Mercury, -14 peregrine. I mean, that's like, okay, according to that, if you're just looking at that, you'd be like, oh, you can't sing. You don't have a voice. Your voice sucks. I'm sorry, but your voice sucks. but she's made a career out of it. So, all right. Well, first of all, she's got Taurus ascendant. I mean, she's made a very successful career out of it. Taurus ascendant. So Taurus for voice, obviously, prominent. Venus in Aries. Venus is also in detriment. Conjunct Saturn, debilitated. In the 12th house. 12th house is not bad for music, for any creative, but and then Saturn and Venus, right, are okay. So okay, that's a bit weird. But the exaltation lord of Taurus is Moon. Moon's in Cancer. Okay, and this is the third whole sign house, but conjunct the IC, so 4th house. So okay, maybe that's it. And then Moon, that alone won't do it though. Moon is trine Mercury. And Neptune is also trine Mercury. Neptune rules Pisces. So now we're this is kind of interesting. We got a grand water trine going on that has involved the second lord and the ascendant lord and a Neptune. And then we also got these nice sextiles to the nodes. I mean, it's a little bit off, but we got South Node Jupiter and Uranus in Libra which is Venus's domicile. So Venus actually has two, ascendant in Taurus and South Node Jupiter and Uranus in Libra. And South Node Jupiter, it's exact South Node Jupiter, and then 1 degree Uranus. South Node Jupiter rules success. Jupiter is the planet of success. And so South Node Jupiter has experienced early success, right? And all her success came when she was pretty young, right? So we have to include that. And we have to say that somehow Venus is helped by the South Node Jupiter, and even though it's not the second lord, right? Jupiter's ruling Pisces as well. And Venus exalts in Pisces. So there's a roundabout way that it's working. But I mean, I'm not saying also Sun's exalted, Sun, and then so in any case, it's really interesting, right? And then there is the sextile. It's out of sign, but it's still sextile between Neptune and then Moon. And so that is quite interesting. And it's kind of a weird kite. And Mariah Carey, even though she was extremely successful, she's not, I don't know. A lot of people find her annoying, is what I'm trying to say, including myself. So even though she's got like this whistleletto, whatever you call it, voice, and like hit all these pop songs, there's something kind of annoying about her. So yeah, we could say like, okay, success when young, relating to entertainment. It's not quite in the 6th house. It's moving into the 6th, but 5th, 6th. Definitely unique. And then Uranus opposite Chiron. The Sun conjunct Chiron, Jupiter conjunct Uranus. So exalted Sun in the 12th, or conjunct the 12th cusp, opposite Uranus, and then Jupiter and South Node, and North Node conjunct Chiron as well. So she's got the nodes involved too. Definitely a unique chart. Yeah, I'm it is interesting. And then Venus and Saturn are bona fide by an exalted Sun in Aries, so we have to look at that as well. Mars is in Sag, and it's got a wide trine to the Sun, so that's also benefiting it, very much. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you other than that. Like, somehow she makes it work. Moon's out of bounds. Venus is retro. Mars is quite slow. Yeah. So unless her chart's wrong, that could be another option. But it's certainly interesting, and it's quite an anomaly. I mean, Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, is interesting. I mean, it's definitely in detriment and debility. So like, she's not going to have a her intellect. She's not going to be very, she's going to be confused. She's going to be very Piscean as far as her intellect. She's not going to be like a math science major, right? But Pisces for voice, because Venus is exalted in Pisces, that's not bad, right? Pisces is very creative. And then Neptune trining it, and a domicile Moon trining it. Somehow it's coming together, and then sextiling the South Node Jupiter, Uranus. So anyway, that's Mariah Carey. Let's move on to Scorpio. And in Scorpio, we have Benedict Cumberbatch. He's got a Chironic name. I'll just tell you that, right? That's a funny name. Fred Savage, Salil Moonfry, Gabriel Iglesias. So Fred Savage, if you don't know, played, he was the main character in The Wonder Years, an old TV show I used to watch. For you youngins, you probably don't know. And then he moved into, he kept acting, he did some minor roles and did a lot of like directing, producing. And Soleil Moonfry, even earlier, she was Punky Brewster, an old actress in like TV show in the 80s. I love that show, but also very chironic, right? Especially Scorpio and Uranus is, like punk. Scorpio and Uranus. Uranus and Scorpio. Gabriel Iglesias says he's a comedian. He's the fat guy. He made a whole thing about I'm not fat, I'm fluffy. It's very funny. And Audrey Tautou, she's a French actress, model, and played Amelie. So, anyways, not that Scorpio was way less than the others. I was kind of surprised. But we're gonna look at Benedict Cumberbatch, who's, quite a huge star and very, very well respected. I would say level of respect way more for Benedict Cumberbatch overall than somebody like Mariah Carey. Even though Mariah Carey was hugely successful, I'm not denying that. Anyway, Pluto and Libra conjunct the ascendant, and you can see that in his face. He's got like this really intense face, and that's a very strong conjunction with Pluto and Libra. Pluto and Libra is kind of unique. It's very dynamic, right? Just looking at the generations, you got Pluto and Leo, and these are like this huge ego, right? Pluto and Leo generation. These are kind of like super overconfident, hubris, just like, I don't know, extreme confidence, but very big characters. Then the Pluto in Virgo conjunct Uranus. And these are super intense people. Especially with the conjunction of Uranus there, it's just like very contracted, right? Virgo, and it's on its own, it's like no excess. It's just puritanical, just like scraping away any unnecessary, fat or excess. Pluto and Libra is a bit softer, and that's why I like Pluto and Libra. I'm Pluto and Libra, so maybe I'm biased, but you get a real nice dynamism between the softness and balance of Libra and the intensity of Pluto, because Libra tends to lack kind of backbone and strength. It's excellent as far as like dealing with people, because that's what it does. It deals with people. But the Pluto gives it some like, backbone or balls, right? It's like making it like giving it some teeth, some structure, and then both, Pluto dealing with kind of like the scorpionic relationship of really like deep intimacy and like dominating control. Libra dealing with equal relationships. It's not a bad combination because you're getting both those things. You're getting the ability to relate to people in a very equal way, as well as the ability to be really strong and powerful. So that's why I like Pluto in Libra. And then the Pluto in Scorpio, it's just kind of one-sided. It's not that they're not strong. I mean, they're extremely, as a generation, extremely strong, but also kind of narcissistic. And that's why they butt heads with the Pluto and Leo, because they're kind of similar. It's two like very narcissistic, egotistical kind of combinations for Pluto that, they both want to control the show. They both want to rule. They both want to dominate. Pluto and Leo thinks of themselves as the king. Pluto and Scorpio just wants control. They want to dominate. And the Gen Xers, Pluto and Libra, is like, we're just like, we're gonna be Libran about it. Just like, oh, we want peace, but if you come at us, we're no pushovers either, because we have a way, we have a Libran way of being able to maneuver. Libra is very smooth, and that's one of the best things about Libra, is its ability to navigate the world of people and get away with anything, because that superficial quality. Great for sales, great for speaking and talking and thinking, and in a smooth way. Smooth. Libra's so smooth. Okay. But let's look at Benedict Cumberbatch. Cucumber Batch. as I like to call him. Tremendous chart, obviously, very intense. And then he's also got his Venus. Venus is his ascendant lord, conjunct Saturn exact. And he's a vegan, so like highly controlled as far as like, well, Venus ruling his body, but like just also indulgence, right? He's not going to indulge. He's going to be very strict with himself. Very strong 10th house, south node Chiron, north node Uranus. So he's got the nodes mixed in with the Uranus, Chiron Uranus opposition. So south node Chiron, he was the actor from a young age, very highly regarded actor. And this has to do with south node Chiron in Taurus. I have this combination. It's almost very similar to mine, except my Uranus is on the ascendant. But and I have south node. I mean, I was born basically a month before him, June 5th, 76. So yeah. This is 8th house, so very deep and intense. Jupiter's in the 8th. So it's bonifying the 8th house, making it much more easy to deal with, much less crisis, because Jupiter is going to protect that. And then south node Jupiter, even though it's wide, it's still early success. And Chiron for the creative, acting, whatnot. Venus is in the 10th in Leo. So that's, you know, also ruling his ascendant lord, his ascendant, it is his ascendant lord. So that he can play these very, very deep, kind of intense 8th house roles, right? I don't know all the roles he plays, but they're all going to be like, it's really intense. Let's put it that way. Aggressive, fighting, sharp, Shakespearean kind of acting. And then north node conjunct Uranus in the 2nd. So his voice, his speaking ability is what he's known for. He does voiceovers a lot. Yeah. Neptune is sesquisquare the sun, so that's also translating. Even though it's a difficult aspect, you know, it's still an aspect, and it's still bringing in Neptune to the sun. So maybe it's delusional, but at the same time, good for acting. Yeah. Mars in the 12th, that's great for acting as well. And yeah. The nodes are in a weird aspect to the ascendant, but again, aspecting the ascendant, so that's still quite good. He might have had some difficulties early on, still in the 8th house. I don't know what that represents, but something. Moon square sun, so internal conflicts. Any case, definitely unique, great at playing any kind of, you know, weird role, you know, just acting like, you know, stand out, very unique, right? Benedict Cumberbatch. Let's go to Sagittarius. And who has it in Sagittarius? Prince Harry, who everyone loves. I'm just teasing. Drake, Lionel Messi, Avril Lavigne, Bruno Mars, and Oscar Pistorius. Less than Sagittarius too, and maybe that's because of the age. I don't know. Maybe we just don't know about these people as much, but we're gonna look at Drake, the Black Jewish rapper. And that's Chironic too. That's Chironic Uranian. He's Black and Jewish, and he's a rapper. But yeah, pretty strong chart. I mean, this right here, just boom, Moon in Cancer in the 11th house, career success. Jupiter in Pisces, domicile trine. Trine, such a strong trine. Look at all these trines. South node Chiron. Chiron's in great aspect. Uranus is in great aspect to the nodes. Sun in Scorpio, 0 degrees. Sextile the ascendant. Perfect. Conjunct Pluto in Scorpio. I mean, really intense, really, you know, south node in the 2nd quadrant, second whole sign house. I mean, technically you could say third whole sign house, but second, and then Sun, Pluto, Venus, Mercury. Well, Venus in the third, moving into the fourth, definitely. And Saturn, Uranus in the fourth, Neptune in the fifth, Mars in the sixth, Mars square Pluto. Mars square Pluto are like obsessively driven to achieve whatever they want to achieve, depending on sign and house. But here it's third and sixth, so like writing, communicating, intellectual kind of pursuits, daily grind, right? Working hard. He's very driven, and success is like, boom, done deal almost. Yeah, south node and second, north node in the eighth quadrant, ninth, I would say eighth, ninth. So he's going to become, as he gets older, more philosophical, religious, perhaps adventurous. I mean, Aries, definitely wanting to change it up a little bit as he gets older. And he's still quite young, born 1986. We'll see how that changes, but it is Mars, sponsored by Mars in the sixth, so can become more hardworking at Aquarius type things. We'll see. We'll see. He might publish something. Might develop a regular series of, who knows, right? Let's go away many different ways. Aquarius is very awake and aware, and very social, political, but we'll see. In any case, Chiron very prominent in the 10th house, Uranus in the fourth, in great aspect, both of these to the nodes. So definitely a standout entertainer, somebody who's unique, one of a kind, and this Uranus Chiron opposition very much plays into that. And again, like, with all of these, there might be some difficult relationships because oppositions relate to relationships, like people combinations. They can relate just internally, but a lot of times it's expressed as another. And these will be, sharp, sudden, painful, situations in relationships. I know he had a thing with Rihanna that didn't work out so well. I don't know the details, but whatever. I mean, that's irrelevant, I guess. It can create a lot of sensitivity. Uranus is very reactive because it's so quick and impatient. There's like no time to react with Uranus. It's like an electric shock. It's just like, right? And Chiron is painful, wounds, rejection. So there can be, difficult relationships with this, but definitely tons and tons of uniqueness as well. Let's go to Capricorn. And in Capricorn, we got Emma Watson, Kristen Stewart, Chris Brown, G-Eazy, who I never heard, but he's a rapper, and Hosier, but he's a singer. We're going to look at Little Miss, which I've seen. I've shown her chart before, but this little witch, Emma Watson. I'm teasing. I like her. I mean, she's good. She's good. She plays a great little witch in Harry Potter, right? And then she's got Jupiter exalted conjunct Chiron in the 10th, right? Chiron for that comical, the straight out of the storybook, the mythological, kind of thing, for a witch. That Jupiter expanding that, Jupiter success, 10th house, career success, Chiron. I mean, she's perfect for any sort of, fantasy kind of character, right? Opposite Uranus. And Neptune. Neptune is even more so for the movies, acting, right? Unbelievable. In a good way. It's really, really, really strong. And then Mercury opposite Pluto. Mercury's in the 8th, right? That's her ascendant lord. So she likes playing these dark roles, right? The kind of Harry Potter witchy kind of thing. Mercury's also square the nodes. And so definitely expression, like deep, dark expression. That's something that she's going to have to deal with. South Node in the 11th house, career success, Leo, fame, square Mercury, Ascendant Lord, and MC Lord, career, 8th house, Harry Potter. North Node in the 5th house, so that's still entertainment, conjunct Mars, in Aquarius. So we'll see how that goes, but that is third Lord, 8th Lord. So again, still, could still go the same way. Venus in Pisces. Venus in Pisces women, even if it's not their ascendant lord, they often have a very good look about them because Venus is feminine. So she is pretty, right? It's in the 6th house. So something mundane, daily hard work. I don't know. I mean, it's not. Venus is their 2nd, so she could be like a regular, she could be like a speaker on a TV show, something like that, TV voiceover for some cartoon or something like that. In any case, a lot of trines like the Sun trine Moon, Mercury trine Neptune. It's excellent for acting. Sun sextile Mars. I mean, this is a loaded chart. She's got a lot, so much working for her. Exalted Sun, exalted Saturn, Sun square Saturn. So there's some difficulty there with, father, parental issues, authority. Sun is conjunct the 8th cusp. So maybe your father was missing. But in any case, there could have been, well, definitely a strict childhood, a lot of discipline, but creative in a weird way. Uranus and Neptune and Capricorn have a weird, funny creativity. This is the 90s conjunction of the, great music came out of that period. Definitely very unique, odd, but yeah, in any case, that's Emma Watson. Very strong chart. Mercury opposite Pluto is deep and intense. Her expression is very powerful. Pluto in the 2nd house in Scorpio. That's pretty much it, guys, for the opposition of Uranus and Chiron. And I'm sure so many of you have it that it's relevant. I have it, right? And so just summary, yeah, relationships might be difficult, but it creates tremendous uniqueness, right? And there might be a lot of reactivity with people, hypersensitivity in certain kind of relationships. A lot of us were just born with incredible uniqueness. It's kind of like everyone has it, so it's like almost everyone, not everyone, but almost everyone. So many people have it, so it's quite normal to be extremely unique these days. And that has to do with the Uranus-Chiron opposition. But yeah, in any case, guys, I hope you found this useful. And don't forget to hit the like button, please. And subscribe if you haven't already. Come to my class on Sunday. It'll be all about retrogrades. And just email me to get on the list. I'm only asking $10. And leave a comment down below. Book a reading with me. My email is macrogoldmachine@yahoo.com, and my website is macroastrology@yahoo.com. And that's it for now. All right. Thanks. Bye.